Now let's take a look at how to create some custom styles using a variety of strokes. We can load in any sort of stroke that we want. We can create ones as bitmaps that we use ourselves, or we can import strokes from existing SketchUp styles. So let's go ahead and do that. Now we can import strokes under the Strokes menu. We can load from a folder, and in this case, we're looking for style files. We can also load from a template. Now, a template is basically just a PNG, a TIFF, or BMP or bitmap files. But in this case, we're going to load from an existing SketchUp style. So I'm going to go ahead and say load from style. Now, when I do that, I need to find where those styles are installed on my hard disk. And they're installed with the program. So you need to understand where your program is installed on your hard disk. On a Mac, it's installed in Applications. But since I'm working on Windows, I'm going to find the SketchUp folder and double-click on the SketchUp 2013 folder. And under that, you'll find Styles. And these are all the styles that SketchUp has available to it. I'm going to look at the Sketchy Edges styles and double-click on that folder, and you'll see we have all of these different types of styles. So I'm going to select the dry erase marker style and open it. And you'll notice that we get a whole new list of strokes that have the dry erase marker in them. If I want, I can load another style. In this case, I'm going to load crayon. And so now you'll see we have a number of different styles. And we can click and drag these into our sets. Now, before we do that, notice how the sample strokes for the default in Style Builder are 16 pixels wide, and the ones we loaded are 8 pixels wide. So I want to create a style with 8 pixel wide lines. So I'm going to change the width of my line to 8 pixels to accommodate these images, and I'm also going to cut down on the number of strokes just to make it a little bit easier. Now, because I'm not going to use the sample strokes, I'm going to go ahead and minimize this window just by clicking on this little triangle. So now, once I have this, I can just click and drag my strokes into my window. So, for example, I can create all my short lines as dry erase markers. But if I want, I can click and drag my 64 pixel crayon lines into this next set. So now I've got a mixture of dry erase and crayon. So if I wanted to, I can make the 128 lines all crayon. And you can see I've got crayon lines and then a mixture of that and some dry erase marker. And let's say I wanted the longer lines to go back to dry erase. So I can certainly select those and drag those in. And you can see how this is starting to work out here. And I'm going to keep that number of strokes to 2 here. And you can see that I'm getting a mixture of crayon and dry erase lines. And this can be very handy if you want to create a unique style. And I'm going to go back to my crayon lines. I'm going to open this up and go ahead and drag that into here. Now, one of the things I find with this program is that if you have a lot of these tabs open, it's very hard to drag from the lower ones up to here. So typically I minimize and I try and drag straight across. It seems to work a little bit better. But regardless, once we have all these, we have a basic style that has a mixture of different types of lines. And if we go to settings, we can certainly change any of these settings. We can certainly add extensions if we want and do whatever other fixes we want. And when we're done, we can save as or generate a template. So if I want, I can save it as a style. And we have to give our style a name here. So we can just call it new style. And then we can go File, Save As, and it will save it as a style. And if we want, we can save it into this styles folder in SketchUp 2013, and it will show up in SketchUp. So those are some of the basics about how to use Style Builder to create your own styles. So go ahead and be creative and create some very interesting styles for your work.